Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago. This week we're looking back at the hot comics from October 30th, 2020, and I'm recording this on April 30th, 2021. As always, I give you the dates so that you know when this information is actually relevant, because the way this market moves right now, that's not very long. We're also always looking back at the CBSI Hot Top 10 and the Comic Tom Key Collector Hottest Trending Comics of the Week. So we got 17 books to talk about this week. Hello, kitty. So kind of an odd week. More up books this week than typical by quite a bit. We also have a lot of books with a really wide range on what they're going for. So let's get into the list, see what we can learn. First up, we have Assassin's Creed. This is from 2007. This was a giveaway with a pre-order of the game. And basically back then it was going for $70 because there were rumors about a show coming to Netflix, a new Assassin's Creed show. Yeah, I couldn't find any listings. I couldn't find any sales. Nothing on this one. I don't know if this one's a bit of a ghost because it is that pre-order thing, but I couldn't find anything in the last 3 months on eBay. And I couldn't find anything currently listed either. So not sure what to make of this one. I'm going to guess probably fairly steady if it popped up, maybe up a little bit, just because it appears to be something of a ghost maybe. But yeah, not much we can learn from that one. Next we have Ye Old Lore of Yore from 2005. This is the first appearance of the Cursed Pirate Girl. Again, potential discussion, rumors about being optioned. Caused a 9.8 of this to go for $3 to $3.50. Right now, raw copies are running $75. 9.6 recently sold for $150, but there's no 9.8 listed, the currently listed 9.8s are in that previous $3 to $3.50 range. But there hasn't been any sales of those recently, so I'm calling this one steady based on the $150 9.6 price. It's probably right in there. But yeah, definitely, and I'll be back. You might be able to find this one for a little bit cheaper. Next, we're going to move into Sandman number 8, first appearance of Death, and this had everything to do with there's a Sandman show coming. Neil Gaiman was doing lots of posts about it and about Sandman just in general. Caused this book to jump up to a $120 book raw. 9.8s we're going for $6 to $6.25. Now raw books are $75 to $200. This is one of those that's in a really wide range. Mostly $1 to $150 for a raw copy, but huge range on that. 9.8s have been going consistently $1,000 to $1,200, but the most recent sale, well, no, not the most recent sale, like 2 sales ago, there was a $2,000 sale so thrown in there, which seemed really odd. The listings are all still in that $1,000 to $1,200 range, so that could just be fake sale or something going on there. But yeah, still up either way. A lot of interest in Death, especially with the series coming in the near future. Next, we have Thundercats number 1. This hit the list because I guess, and I didn't even know this, there was a new cartoon series that was coming out, and they announced it was getting a season 2, which I didn't even know anything about this. But anyway, raw copies back then jumped up to $25. 9.8s were going for $500. If you know anything about this hit the list just a couple weeks ago because there was an announcement of a director for a new live action animation combo film coming from this, which has caused this book to go through the roof. Now raw copies are cost you $50 to $300 depending on condition. 9.8s are going for $2,000 to $2,250. So this book, a lot of nostalgia going on with this book, a lot of interest in this. So this one's jumped way up in the last 6 months. Next, we have another comic book that's in production. This is Why the Last Man. Back then, raw copies were, with the announcement that it was going into production, raw copies jumped up to $200. 9.8s hit $900. Raw copies are still kind of in that $200 to $300 range. 9.8s are $1,000 to $1,200. So this one hasn't jumped a ton, but it has continued to creep up. Still a lot of anticipation of this being a show. A lot of people love this comic. So it's continued to climb. Next, we're moving out of the TV option stuff and into our first cover of the week. And this is one that was on the list last week. Phantom Star Killer number 1, the VHS variant, limited to 400 copies. It's on the opposite list. This week it's still running $100 to $200 for a raw copy back then. Now it's running $75 to $100, so down a little bit. 9.8 only cost you $200, so this one's definitely down. But basically it was, like I said, it was on the list twice in a row, but it really was because of opposite lists, basically same value. Next we have Dark Knight's Death Metal: Rise of the New God, number 1. The Boss Logic 1 in 25. Just a really cool cover. This one was hitting $60 to $100 at release. Now it's a $20 to $50 book. Pretty typical for that 1 in 25. It got to triple, almost quadruple, but then it's fallen back to basically ratio to double ratio. So falling back quite a bit. 9.8s are only going to run you $60 to $90 because a bunch of people sent them in, and yeah, so there's several of them on the market. So this one's also down, also, and I'll be back. Next we have Department of Truth, number 2, the David Romero 1 in 25 cover, and this is just a messed up cover. Caused this thing to jump to $50 raw at release, and this one has kept going. It's $150 to $200 now. 9.8s are $500 to $600. Not a huge order on this. Department of Truth has become a very popular series, and this crazy cover has just gone way up. People really want it. People are chasing it. Next we have Dr. Aphra, number 5, the Terry Dodson 1 in 25. This one jumped to $35.40 at release, so not quite double ratio, and it's basically just sat there. It's $35.50 right now. A lot of interest in this. There's several of these 1 in 25s for this Dr. Aphra series that will be hitting the list as we go through over the next couple months. Because this one at 6 and 7 were all very popular. This one's least popular, but it has been very steady in what it's been going for. So, last cover of the week is Wolverine number 8. This is the Matthew Waite 1 in 30. This one's back in 2003, kind of 8-bit Sabretooth cover that people were jumping on. Raw copies were going for 100 plus back then. Now there's not a lot of these out there. This one's maybe a bit of a ghost too. Only 2 sales, both raw copies, 60 and 180. So gonna kind of call this one steady, worth it, just because it's kind of hard to track down, kind of hard to find, not many listed, not many sales. With that, we're going to move into comic buzz, and the biggest buzz from this week was from this week 6 months ago was The Last Ronin. Last Ronin number 1, the regular A cover, was going for $20 to $30 at release. This had to do with the buzz just around the comic, plus some print and production issues, which caused, delay, not everybody getting it, or fewer people getting fewer copies than what they expected. Result is that this was, like I said, a $20 to $30 book at release. Now it's a $40 to $80 book. The buzz on the series has continued to drive it. 9.8s were going $2 to $250, although there was a sale for $100. The most recent sale was only $100 for a 9.8, but it mostly been sitting in that $2 to $250 range. So a lot of popularity with The Last Ronin. People are everything Turtles, and this series especially has been super hot. Next we have The Last Ronin number 1, the Aaron Bartling variant that was limited to 300 copies. This thing was going for $550 on the secondary market as soon as it hit the secondary market. Now it's $500 to $1,000. 9.8s are running at $1,200 all the way to $3,000. This is one of those ones I talked about where it was just a huge range in what this book was going for, both raw and 9.8. So this one is up. I will say most of the recent 9.8 sales are in a $1,500 to $2,000 range, but they're, like I said, $1,200 to $3,000 legitimately on sales. All right, 5 books left. Next we have Predator number 1, and this hit the list because Marvel got the rights. So kind of like with Alien, then they started making an Alien series. I assume there's probably a Predator one coming at some point. Raw copies were going for $80. 9.8 was going for $700. Now raw copies are $30 to $200, with most sitting around $100. 9.8s though have jumped a little bit, $900 to $1,000. So another book that's up. Like I said, there's a lot of books that continue to climb a lot, or at least a little bit, in the last 6 months. This is one of them. Next, we're going to move into into Gotham Academy number 1. This is the first appearance of Mia Mizoguchi. This is the second week in a row. This is, back then it was going for $25, another opposite list thing. This is because she's going to be a new Robin in the Batman Black and White series. Again, I haven't read that series, so I'm not sure exactly where that's going, but now the book's down to a $5 to $20 book. 9.8s are only $120 to $160, so it doesn't maybe appear that it's going to amount to a whole lot. We'll see. So this one is definitely down, definitely, and I'll be back. Now we're moving into DC TV, which is what I almost said a minute ago when I stumbled, and that is Batgirl number 50. This is the first appearance of Ryan Wilder, and she is the current Batwoman on the CW show. So basically, when the actress left the Batwoman show, they recast Batwoman, but they made her a whole new character, and then they used this book to introduce this character to the comics. Back then, raw copies were going for $20 to $40, but like all buzz around these CW shows, it doesn't appear to have any legs on value. Now it's a $5 to $15 book. 9.8 will only cost you $50 to $80. So even though the show's coming out now, this one was definitely down. And it's just a typical CW trap. These just don't appear to be able to sustain value, even though when appearances happen on these CW shows. It's just consistently not been the case. Last two books have to do with a casting in the MCU. First up, we have Moon Knight number 1. And this is the first solo series for Moon Knight. And this had to do with Oscar. The rumors that Oscar Isaac was going to be cast as Moon Knight. We now know that for sure. Back then, raw copies were $75. 9.8s were hitting $4 to $5.50. Now, raw copies are still right in that exact same range, $30 to $80, but 9.8s are up to $700 to $900. So way up. And then, of course, we got casting for Moon Knight. So Werewolf by Night number 32 also hit the list. The first appearance back then at 9.0 hit $2,700. The most recent 9.0 sale now is at $4,500. So continued to jump. Low-grade raw copies will cost you $500. A high-grade raw copy, you're looking at $1,500 plus. This has been a big book for a while. People have been specking on this book for a long time. We know a Moon Knight show is coming. Now we have casting, and it's pretty good casting. So that is this week's list. We had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 17 books actually went up this week, which never happens, but this is just one of those weeks, and this is just one of those current markets. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next time.